Yeah.
Yeah. You also want to see the action.
Get comfy.
Is that what you want?
Trying. But now my legs are touching the cold floor.
Should have put a blanket on the floor.
Yeah, I didn't think about it.
There he goes.
Doggo.
Now he's
Yeah.
Now all these dogs look comfortable.
So many dogs. Copious dogs.
If Mom could, she said she'd have more dogs.
That's so many.
But because of how small our house is, and also my father, he wouldn't allow more.
About at capacity.
Not a crazy cat woman, but a crazy dog woman.
Yeah. What she wants to do is she
friend.
wants to get a doggy bus and go around and just take people's dogs and take them to like big fields and the lake and stuff like that. Like it's just doggy daycare with a bus.
Oh no!
It'd be pretty good, I think.
That sounds so hard to keep a head count.
Yeah.
Well, would
People
you
like
behave?
it. I've seen TikToks of doggy buses.
What are
Bilbo,
you doing?
what
What
are you...
are you doing, doggo? These dogs,
What a spoil.
they are... They're something. Ah! What was that? What was that? I stopped...
He said more.
I stopped petting him and he
Yeah.
smacks me!
Yeah, that's what happens.
This
I sat down on the floor earlier and he sat in my lap.
big dog.
Yeah.
This is not a lap dog.
No, he's not, but he did it anyway.
You know where you
Got
are.
all up in there.
Do you like to pretend to be a lap dog? You know who you are? Okay. Okay, Amicus got humiliated.
Got dunked on
This Zoomer got punked by a
by a boomer. Is Amicus a zoomer?
Oh, he's a Coomer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He's not even a doomer, though. He's too,
No, he's just a Coomer.
He's too rich and privileged to be a doomer.
He's just a Coomer.
He only cooms. He's gonna coom.
And then you have his Doomer little brother.
Yeah, his doomer. Yeah, see, the generation. That's how the generation split in their family. One of them became the coomer. One of them became the doomer.
Or I guess actually, wait. I don't think this is actually how this unfolded.
Okay.
You have the Coomer that's Amicus, the Doomer that's Virginia, and the CD that's Cassius.
Oh, facts.
We've cracked the code.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Virginia's definitely a doomer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
It is what it
There
is.
is a little bit of both in. Wow, you
Yeah.
did crack it, man. We won in Interea.
We've won Interea.
We won in Interea. We won it.
Oh my god.
We
Are you
win now.
satisfied yet, doggo?
Did he unroll that roll of paper towels, or
Yeah.
did you do that?
I didn't.
What have you done?
That's his job, not mine. I see Amicus's invitation to join him and quickly take my place by his side. Like a simp.
Simp.
I can tell that he's embarrassed right now. Of course, he would be after that happened, but I'm just glad to see that he's mostly okay with the brutality of the fight. I know him well enough to keep my concern and affection to keep him to check in on... Wait, affections in check for now. Got that sorted?
Uh-huh. They were all
We
over
got
the place, but we got
We
there.
did not get that too twisted. It's fine. Instead, letting everyone play it off like nothing happened. The others follow me, introducing themselves one by one to the older Wolffel. While Virginia had watched the entirety of the fight with hardly any expression, I was a bit surprised to see Cassius lower his eyes when it became clear Amicus was losing.
Is he embarrassed because now it's even more solidified at how much of a loser Cassius is?
Yeah.
Because he lost to Amicus. So
yeah,
like,
but he's also like a twig.
yeah, he does have.
He
has glass bones and paper skin.
Yeah,
that's right.
A gust of wind. He gets knocked over and fucking dies.
Yeah, and his spleen ruptures somehow
Oh, my spleen!
from the wind. Yeah, the wind ruptures his spleen, and if the moon of Adastra decides to rotate just a little too fast that day, it breaks his fucking ankles.
I like to think that Alex is his windbreaker. You know?
Yeah, facts. Yeah, every time there's like Alex has some breeze sense of like Cassius and like jumps in front of him when the wind is about to hit. That was a close one. You almost lost your part this time. You silly boy.
Oh my god.
Oh man, Alex definitely calls him a silly boy in the bedroom. Who's my silly boy? Oh, it's me.
I assumed he might take pleasure in seeing his emperor brother get trounced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a word.
Uh-huh.
And he just seemed to have been made uncomfortable by the whole thing. Meanwhile, Nephidou had watched with an expression that seemed on the verge of disgust, while Brunus visibly cringed and shook his head throughout. As for me, I just felt a relieved weakness flooding through my limbs after the surge of adrenaline during the fight. It was a feeling of dread and terror that I had felt a few times, specifically when seeing Amicus and Kato fight. It makes me wonder if I can ever watch another Pungu match again.
It's just fighting, man.
Yeah, it's just beating the shit out of each other.
Not even like that much.
It's wrestling but real.
Like you get oh shit. Oh, you're gonna trigger so many people. It's like, you know, watching MMA fights nowadays is like way worse than that.
Right? Amicus places his heavy paw around my shoulder, grunting slightly as he pulls me into his side and fixes a tight smile on his face.
Anyway, we're glad to have you as part of our delegation, Magus. Glad to be a part of it. I only regret that it was under such circumstances.
Amicus shrugs his shoulders quickly.
If it was under the circumstance of friendly sport, then I'm glad to have experienced it. Indeed.
Yeah, Magus smiles pleasantly, and despite his brutality in Pungu reminding me of Kato, he doesn't seem anything like that old wolf.
Indeed. Luckily, the itinerary anticipated your inclusion, thus plans should remain the same. Would you like to go over the schedule with me? Oh, definitely. I trust you remember the way to the villa, Amicus. The drones have been instructed to keep anyone from following you and your companion. Of course. Thank you for the bout, Magus. I look forward to a more formal meeting tomorrow.
Amicus nods his head at Magus, and I take that as my cue to bow to the old wolf. He responds by making sure to bow lower than me. Okay.
Yes, until then, Your Highness, and his companion.
With that, the formalities seem to end, and I feel Amicus stir me toward one of the exits to the city square. Do we get to see the city square? Because this is currently a circle.
The amphitheater.
This is not a square. After we pass under a few archways, along with a few more eyes peering from windows, we emerge into the outskirts of Lux.
Oh,
okay.
We got a new background.
All right.
A little more abstract, but I like it.
You call this abstract? I call this a cool Photoshop filter.
A cool Photoshop filter? You don't think it's just MS Paint?
No one would want to do this in MS Paint. You can. But you do you. I know I would not.
Reasonable.
I would just not do any of that. The cold gray walls give way almost instantly to the rolling hills and jagged mountains of the tundra beyond. I feel Amicus practically deflate against me, and I feel a wave of sympathy for my wolf as I realize how much that fight must have weighed on his mind. I raise a hand to touch his bulky, furry arm that's already around me, not saying anything for now, waiting for him to talk if he wants to. He grunts again, rubbing my arm.
Well, aren't you nice and warm?
He turns his eyes toward the drone above me.
Chemian tech, eh?
Yeah! Yeah, that ambassador, Brunus gave it to me.
Ah, yes. He's an amicable man. Was your time with him pleasant?
I shrug. Dog. Big rumble.
He rumbling.
Rumble. Rumble and dog. It was alright. Not much going on considering the city is basically a ghost town.
Yes, they're rather strict with their curfews and such. It's the product of being such a rebellious city.
I see. We walk in silence for a few minutes, and I look ahead to the neat layout of the villa at the end of the trail, maybe a mile outside the city gates. Do we get to see it? Towards us are a few other isolated buildings and trails, and maybe somewhat, something what looks like a farm, though I have no idea what they might grow up here.
You're so demanding, Josh. We just got a new background.
But with how few backgrounds we've seen, it kind of made that sequence feel very claustrophobic. Despite the fact that the characters did go a bunch of places. We just had the one thing. So, you know.
Yeah. What we
Felt
saw
a little
things in the
weird.
background, like the other buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
And they had to go there and then come back to the amphitheater.
Yeah, but that was something that I also didn't like in Adastra, where it's just like, okay, you have the foyer.
The
You
bedroom.
have the garden. That's it.
You had the throne room,
How often were we there?
like 2 or 3 times, I think.
The whole game.
Yeah. You had the bedroom,
Yep. You have the bedroom.
the bathroom,
The foyer. The garden.
the forest.
We were not in that forest often enough to count that. And I'm just like, man. Can we just go to the hangar to hang out?
You know, to hang out in the hangar,
Yeah.
like you do.
Yeah. Would you not want to hang in the hangar?
Not unless I was going to get in a plane or a vehicle.
What, you don't want to hang your clothesline there?
No.
Bring your hangers to the hangar to hang?
How about you stop? Just quit. Horrible.
No, it's funny.
It's not, though.
You're right. But it is indeed eliciting a reaction.
Ugh.
Around us are a few isolated buildings and trails. Oh, yeah, we did it. Still, I can't see anything else around us. As it becomes clear Amicus isn't going to say anything, I give in, : So, are you feeling okay? Should we have a doctor look at your head? I focus on Amicus's physical condition rather than on the state of his pride.
No, of course not. Just a bit sore here and there.
Okay, that's good. Guess? That's good guess?
I think there's an eye missing.
Okay. It's quiet again, then Amicus sighs.
I'm sorry.
I sigh as well. For what?
For my failure in combat. I underestimated my opponent, but I promise to become stronger in the future.
But why are you apologizing to me?
Because, as your partner, your future husband, I not only embarrass myself in these situations, but I risk doing the same to you.
I absorb that, keeping my frustrations at those words in check. Amicus, I'm not embarrassed. I was terrified for you, and now I'm relieved that you seem to be okay and that it's over. That's all I feel right now.
You must be at least slightly embarrassed for me, no?
No, liar. This time Amicus sighs in frustration.
Sometimes I think you only say things because it is the correct thing to say in your culture. You emphasize me being an individual and dismiss your own feelings as unimportant.
I stay quiet.
Marco,
Yes?
do you have anything to say to that?
No, I don't. I don't know. I'm just not sure what to say.
Is what I just said that bad?
Maybe. It just feels like you're dismissing my own feelings right now.
How so?
By accusing me of saying things because of my culture and not because it's how I actually feel. Watching you fight, it was almost as bad as watching those fights you had with Kato. I couldn't care less about being embarrassed right now.
Oh, well, you know the situation is completely different.
Yeah. Our conversation seems to end there, the villa only a few minutes away now. I'm okay with letting it go, too tired to argue right now. Amicus squeezes me to the side again.
Well, listen, the hard part is over here in Lux. Over the next 2 days, we can do whatever we like.
I feel like I've heard Amicus say that more than a few times, and it always seems to not quite work out that way. You sure some of your duties won't pop up?
Here and there, but I've arranged that for them to call me through my portal, as much as I struggle to use one.
Do you have things planned?
Yes. Tomorrow, we visit the famous natural springs in the mountains. Just us two.
Okay. That does sound kind of nice. Alright.
And Marco, I'm sorry again. I'm simply sulking after being beaten so badly.
Skulking.
I'm not going to ruin this trip.
He's gonna skulk.
He's sulking. I mistook a K. The K's not there. I corrected myself.
But those are almost like one and the same, though. Like, actually, you can kind of skulk
Skulking
while
and
you're
sulking.
sulking.
Skulking kind of implies, slinking with purpose.
Curious.
To skulk.
Yeah.
Skulking.
What is... How do you spell skulking?
SKULK.
That is not... Skulking?
Skulking. To skulk.
Keep out of sight, typically with a sinister or cowardly motive. So it's it could be sulking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to skulk away is like to flee.
Yeah, doing the thing.
It's pretty good.
Shirk one's duties or responsibilities. Now that's Amicus.
That sounds exactly like him.
Let's go.
Just like them. We got there.
I look up at my wolf, letting the hurt I'd felt a few minutes ago fade into the background. I'll hold you to it for now. I assume there's a bath in the villa. Then maybe I can give you a massage like old times.
Oh, well,
The wolf rubs his stomach.
definitely wouldn't mind that right now.
It's a date then.
Indeed.
Amicus stops at the door of the villa, then leans in to kiss me, and we kiss for a long time while no prying eyes are around to disturb us. I mean, you don't... Like, Cassius isn't gonna be there? And just, why
On your
is
background.
This, why... 2 beds. Okay. The villa is surprisingly lush-ish. Lavish.
Yeah,
Lavish.
there you go.
Okay.
That's the word.
Lavish lava. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but after seeing the somewhat barren streets of Lux, I assumed it would be less decked out than the palace in Adastra City. Wow, this is really nice.
It is.
Amicus seems as taken aback as I am. Haven't you been here before? This is where you stay when you're in Lux, right? Amicus seems embarrassed.
Actually, I've never stayed here myself. This is my first visit to Lux as Emperor. My previous visits in my youth never lasted longer than a day. Cassius is likely familiar with the place, though.
Yeah, because he was actually doing a fucking job.
Yeah, facts.
I turn my attention back to the villa. It's decorated and furnished to an extent that's even more extravagant than the palace. Though, to be fair, the palace isn't all that extravagant, and that was intentional. Its barren and utilitarian design is meant to appear at least somewhat approachable to the common wolf. We go about settling in, and Amicus raids the pantry and the kitchen and returns with a bottle of wine and a smaller bottle of what I assume is Verdi.
Okay.
Verdi? Verdi?
I imagine it's Verdi.
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 Verdi Birdie.
Verdi bird.
It's a drink made mostly with the juice of cucumber-like fruit, and Amicus knows it's my favorite drink on Adastra, though its pink hue tells me that it's a flavor I haven't tried before. We settle on a reclining couch. That dog just going.
You scratch.
What are you doing, Bilbo?
The drink is probably guava flavored, and he probably won't like that.
What?
The drink is probably guava flavored, and he probably won't like
Why
that.
won't he like guava?
Because Marco's gay and likes the taste of dick. Because guava drink apparently tastes like vagina.
We settle on our reclining couches while I notice are made with gold trim and polished wood. Your grandfather?
How long were you waiting to bust that one out?
That was such an odd tidbit.
Well, Megan showed me a TikTok about a guy talking about like the guava flavored Doritos, the Mexican soda.
Yeah.
Tasting like vagina. And in the few grocery stores we went to, we like kind of casually looked for it and couldn't find it, which is really funny. But it's just a funny little tidbit that I think, yeah. So that's why Marco obviously wouldn't like the drink. He likes the taste of dick too much. He says, "Vagina, I sleep. Dick, real shit."
Your grandfather, Vitus, right? Amicus seems to perk up immediately.
Oh yes, Vitus. You've heard of him?
Vitus or Vitus?
Because of what the vernacular that I think it's supposed to be, I imagine it's something like Vitus.
Okay. I hold back a wince, forgetting that I haven't told Amicus about how far I'd gone in Adastra, a history quite yet. I quickly move on so he doesn't dwell on it. Just a little bit. I just remember that he ended up getting rid of most of the expensive stuff owned by the family and gave it to the people or something.
He did. About a century ago, the palace had far more decorations and murals. It was a very important step forward in the imperial family's relationship with the people.
Amicus swigs from his bottle, and I do the same for mine.
That's a cute portrait. Like his little face.
His little scrunched face.
His little scrunched up face. It's very good.
His eyes are going to continue to grow smaller with every game.
That was really funny. You showed me that today.
It's just like this scrunched up little face.
And stop looking at me with them big old eyes. It's very good. It's very good indeed.
No. I can tell that the pinkish color of the liquid is probably from flower petals, since the drink has a distinct floral taste to it. It's not guava.
Damn.
You've been bamboozled.
I have been. Also, I think guava's like in a green jar, and I think the liquid is kind of more just an opaque white.
I mean, we can find out. What's a guava? How do you spell guava?
Guava.
Bro, just put guava drink.
Yeah, a lot. Some of it's like pinkish, because like that's like really like sugary one.
Yeah.
Because we did get a different guava soda when we found it, and it was super sweet. Kind of almost tastes like bubblegum. See, there's the Doritos. Okay, so it's pink.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, pink drink.
Is what it is.
This is Starbucks pink drink.
Oh, okay. It's the pinkity drinkity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it made me think of walking through a path from a cloud with my mouth open, the chilled drink is still refreshing, as long as that imagery isn't in my mind. Well, I guess I would have thought that might be the case for the villas too, especially in a region as poor as Lux. They don't have much wealth here, right?
Well, the mines and factories are prosperous enough. The issue is how the wealth is then distributed to the people. Unfortunately, the people of Lux seem intent on voting for the most extreme politicians, who then tend to be the most corrupt. It's a self-inflicted misery, unfortunately.
Oh. Well, I instinctively blanch at his reasoning, but I don't want to get into another argument. Amicus had seen my reaction well enough, though.
I should not have to tell you once again that you can speak freely with me, Marco.
I know that, but lately I've been feeling more and more like I don't know what I'm talking about. I know, but I need to remember that Adastra isn't Earth, and sometimes it feels like it isn't my place.
But it is. I want a human perspective.
Well, just remember, it's only my perspective.
Alright.
And I think that when you say it's self-inflicted, it feels like you're just blaming them for a situation that isn't really their fault.
Yes, I understand that. But what I said is mostly out of frustration. It's difficult to sway these people, and at times I'm at a loss for what to do about the Lux problem.
Well, make sure you stop calling it the Lux problem, first of all.
I'd never say that out loud to anyone else, of course.
But someone might hear you. We both know that there are ears anywhere.
I suppose you're right, but that doesn't fix the actual issue.
Have you tried building a better relationship with Lux?
Of course, but like I said, the funds we send them end up in the pockets that we cannot trace. Attempts to regulate or even withhold funds ends in riots. Attempts to purge unqualified politicians from the ballots end in riots. Really, any attempts to make Lux resemble a civilized Adastran city end in riots that do not end until Adastra gives in to their demands. Tell me, what the hell am I supposed to do to make them understand that Adastra simply wants what's best for them?
Amicus's frustrations is palpable, but despite his annoyance and growling tone, I know it's not directed at me. Another reason I don't feel qualified to judge or tell him what to do is because I know he spends most of his time thinking about things that I can only chime in on, which I imagine is a bit irritating. But he seems to be genuinely seeking my advice, so I try to. From what I understand, a lot of the problems in Lux come from its isolation, right?
Oh, I would say so, yes.
Oh, and I think a few centuries back, an emperor tried to calm the rebellious spirit of the Luxians by importing large amounts of hard liquor into the city, which I can't imagine had a good effect on the people.
I do not recall that policy. Did Khan tell you that?
I remember that I need to tell Amicus that I'm using Chemian records to get a better context for Adastran history. Just not right now, with all of this other crap going on. I think so. Either way, maybe you can try to address those problems. How do you usually get from one city to another?
Well, through flight, of course.
Can a Luxian afford that?
No, most cannot. Most travel is done by automated chariots. Though from Lux, I believe you must travel on foot out of the mountains first.
I frown. Aren't the chariots really slow?
Well, they're twice that of walking speed, thus it would take about 2 weeks to travel from here to Adastra City. So, not terrible.
How do they transport all of the raw material from the mining, or the goods from the factories?
Those are moved by foot and chariot to a major river, then placed on boats.
Do people travel on the boats?
No, the boats are only for transportation of goods and resources, and the river only connects to Tricely. They refine the resources and distribute the goods to other cities. What are you going on about anyway?
I'm trying to figure out how people get around on Dastra. From what I can tell, the main problem here is how isolated it is. On Earth, if a state wants to unify its people, it connects its people. That's usually done through roads, trains, aircrafts, general public transport. It sounds like Adastra doesn't really have that.
Ah, yes. Well, we already have the roads, and they've served us well for thousands of years.
And they only serve slow chariots. It's not. I'm not sure how the parents work, or if maybe you can ask Chemia for help. But high-speed transportation for the general public would probably be my first step.
Hmm.
Amicus stares at me, and I shake my head. Sorry, I don't know much about what's possible, so I probably sound crazy right now.
Well, it's certainly not an easy or quick proposition, but it's something that can be looked into. I appreciate the idea, though one of the reasons we've never pursued a better connection with Lux is because its people do not seem to want one.
Well, maybe it's because they feel so isolated, like they're not part of Adastra. Over time, that could change.
I suppose that could be the case. I'll ask some of the others about it.
Maybe we could ask Magus, since he's coming with us now. Amicus shifts, looking a little embarrassed at the mention of the other wolf, and I feel bad bringing him up.
Yes, that will likely be necessary.
I'm tired of talking politics, and Amicus seems to just be tired, so I get up and join him on his own couch, and he sets aside his wine to hold me close to him. I feel the hardness of his cape clasped against my head, and I help him pull the red fabric over his head, careful to set aside his golden crown first. It's slightly bent out of shape, I assume from the fight, but I don't mention it as he pulls me back into his body. I begin to gently rub his chest and stomach, running my hands over his thick pecs and down his padded stomach, which I'm sure is still aching. We're both already falling asleep, so I give him a light version of his usual rubdown. I listen to him breathing and notice his pants crotch bulging just slightly, but I can tell he's too tired for any serious action tonight.
Thank you for speaking candidly with me, Marco. You always have fantastic insight.
Thanks. You're doing a fantastic job as an emperor. Yeah, but right?
You know, he's doing something.
I think you're doing amazing. You did more than the last emperor I saw, Kato, actually just murdering people.
Yeah,
you're doing
facts.
better than that.
You're doing a little better than that. Low benchmark, so, sure. But we'll get there.
Amicus looks at me in a way that tells me that made him a bit emotional. I rub my head against his chest and before long, we're both drifting off to sleep. Okay.
Nice.
Amicus dreams heavily that night. Several different scenes flash through his mind. One of which, his father chides him for his loss against Magus. Another in which Virginia is berating him for failing to unify Adastra. And finally one where Marco stands in a large, cavernous room filled with other humans. Amicus can tell that Marco is distressed, looking unsure, hesitant, and Amicus wants to help him, but he's not able to speak because he isn't there. These dreams are typical, but the last one transitions into something that isn't a dream, something that Amicus is beginning more familiar with as the parents exert their influence more and more. And it's about Marco. Okay, well, we'll end the part here.
Okay.
So we will see you around, everyone.